Good morning, Powur Hitters and Solar Warrior Tribe. Everybody's welcome on our Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern training. Today, I'm calling in live from a Tustin office. Two great mentors, Sean and Zach Stab, both on the call today, have this amazing office with this decal that you can see behind me and a green screen room for filming that we're doing today. So they'll show us around during the success stories. Now, since we have Travis with us, we're going to skip a quick few updates and get to that afterwards. But we're going to jump right over to Travis. So Travis is a senior director of operations. I'll just say a few things and I'll let him introduce himself and the team and what exactly he does at Powur. But he's a senior director of operations and he is also in charge of Powur Services. So you might not know what the heck Powur Services is. You might not know if it affects your area or your state or where you're selling. And I'll just say that Powur is in a transitionary period. They are trying to crowdsource surveys, guys, on demand. If you've been noticing that, you can sign up to do that. There's virtual site surveys. No other solar companies are doing these two things. We did it so well and so fast and sold so many jobs, and March was our highest sales month ever, that we actually had to pull it back a bit from doing all these in-house designs or on-demand surveys or in-house permit submissions. So trust me when I say this, I know from experience 2 years ago when we had a growth phase, we are experiencing a growth phase right now, guys, doing something literally that no other company has done. So in some states, Powur Services is kicking butt. It rocked when it first rolled out, but we just did it so much and so fast. So I appreciate all of your patience as we nail this amazing model that nobody else is doing right now. So with that, Travis, I'll set the stage up for you. I'll let you share your screen if you'd like to.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And feel free to take it over. There you go.
Yeah, well, excited to be here, guys. Are you able to see my screen? Should be a slide deck there.
Looks good.
Yes.
Okay, great. So as Jonathan said, I'm heading up the efforts to build out our in-house project services. And that means our ability to do our own site surveys, to submit permits, to do our own in-house designs and engineering. And then also our own interconnection applications. And as he mentioned, we have, great problem to have, which is you guys knocked it out of the park, and we were left playing a bit of catch up on the capacity side. So I am happy to announce that by the end of this month, we will have all of the people that we expect to need to keep up with the rapid growth that we're seeing on the sales side. So some of those friction points that you maybe have seen over the last 3 to 4 weeks are going to be quickly a thing of the past. So with that, today I want to focus on the on-demand site survey and the site survey program in general, since that is where we were feeling a lot of those friction points and some things that I can hopefully clear up for you guys in the field, so that you know how your projects are being handled, how your customers are being taken care of. So first of all, what's the mission of the Powur Site Survey program? We want to deliver a consistent, high quality site survey to our design and engineering team through a best-in-class process that instills confidence in our homeowners, installation partners, and sales teams alike. So that is the goal. That's where we have planted our flag and what we are marching towards. But I will say that it is a process, and we've got a lot of things that are going well, and we've still got things to improve, and we've got some exciting things that we're building down the pipeline. But that is the goal. That's what we aim to achieve. So how do we do that? We do that through 3 different resources. And you may have heard a few acronyms thrown around. You got to love the solar industry. We love our acronyms. So we have VSS, we have ODSS, we have install partners. And so the first one I'll touch on briefly is virtual site survey. And that's the one that we started with. And that is basically making it really easy for either you as a consultant or for your homeowner to provide basic information about the home right at point of sale. And we are not the only company to do this. So, but it is a relatively new thing in the industry. The reason we want to do that is we know that there are homes out there that are frankly low-hanging fruit. They're newer homes, they're not complex projects with limited information. You can see that it's a very straightforward installation process, tie-in method. Frankly, we're just not going to get hung up. And secondly, we can also see that it really doesn't make a lot of sense for us to send a very highly skilled, possibly electrician or installer to a site that we know with the limited information we have that there's just really no reason to have them show up. So those are the virtual site surveys. And not every single project is going to qualify as a virtual site survey that is ready with that limited information to then move forward into the design phase. And we know that. So if it doesn't qualify for the virtual site survey, we then want to move it to an on-demand site survey. And this is where, as Jonathan said, we are crowdsourcing through the platform individuals to conduct those site surveys. Now, granted, we put together a training and a certification process, and some of you on this call may have already gone through that certification process. But that allows us to then say, well, we don't have enough information through the virtual site survey. We haven't lost any time because we haven't, scheduled anybody. There's no lost cycle time. So we can quickly pivot and get boots on the ground, get somebody out there that can conduct a thorough in-person site survey that is based on a set of criteria, a template that we've created, that we've said we need these measurements, we need these photos. This is what our engineers and designers need to successfully create this permit pack. And then our last resource is obviously our installation partners. And that, I think many of you have seen that we have wonderful installation partners, and we certainly don't want to take away from that fact. But in order for us to scale and have that repeatable, high quality process, we can't simply rely on throwing the project over to our install partners and having them take on every single site survey. That being said, we do know we have those complex projects, ground mounts, even storage projects at this stage in the game that it does make sense to have that highly skilled person out there that is looking for some of those potential red flags. So, questions up to this point? Was this, did that clarify some things? I know I've heard virtual site survey and on-demand site survey conflated, but those are the two separate, kind of separate lanes that we see on the Powur site survey process.
One question here in the chat, Travis, should we specify on the project handoff notes if we feel a job will require an install partner for the survey or any other particulars?
Yeah, great question. And that's one of the first things that we did is we realized, man, we are not getting a lot of that information from you, the consultants. So any notes that you feel are important, that if there's a reason why you think, yeah, this should probably go to an install partner, please provide that information. Because nobody knows the project better than you at that point.
And someone else looks like they signed up for the on-demand to work with Powur. Are there certain states or cities or backlog if someone does want to do this activity?
Yeah, so we put this out there a few months back, and we got an overwhelming response. Well over 200 people that said, yep, sign me up. And so we did have to take a measured approach and go area by area, state by state. And currently we have gone through California, Texas, Florida. We're getting up into the Northeast, but we still have not completely gone through every market. And even in those markets, we do want to continue to add more and more capacity. So if you've submitted an application and you haven't heard back from us, go ahead and put it in the chat, or Jonathan can shoot you my way, and I'll have my team see why they didn't maybe you slip through the cracks.
Hey, Travis, quick question here. If the site eval is done by a build partner, does that automatically take it outside of Powur Services for the rest of the process, or can it also then come back in for a design, for permitting, interconnection, so forth?
Yeah, great questions. So, I'll say that interconnection is the one that makes the most sense for us to just take it off of our build partners' plates. We've already seen that we get it from inspection pass to PTO much more quickly. We have more in-depth knowledge of utilities on our team. So most projects, regardless of who does the site survey, by the end of this quarter, you're going to see project services doing the interconnection. That being said, if the build partner has done the site survey, the project is more than likely going to stay with that build partner. And this is where one of those friction points, one of those that we saw come up over the last several weeks. We always want to make sure that the person doing the site survey, that the same group is also doing the design. If a build partner does the site survey, we kind of want them to own the design. Those processes go hand in hand. And we had a moment where, due to capacity constraints, we were conducting the site survey and then handing it to the build partner to do the design. And that's just not a great process. So not sure if that completely answered your question, but in most cases, if they do the site survey, the project is going to stay with them through the process, with the exception of the interconnection.
It definitely makes sense, especially the design phase of it. But what about permitting? Is that also true for permitting, or does permitting go like interconnection to our side, or does permitting stay with them?
Permitting will typically stay with them. Yeah, we are only permitting the projects that we have also created the permit pack for. Okay. And I apologize, I can't see the comments section for some reason on my end. So yeah, Jonathan, if you get others, just call them out.
Will do. We're pretty good for now.
Okay. All right, so what are some of the advantages that we've seen thus far? And again, this isn't a perfect process yet by any means, but so far, some of the early indicators, one of the things we see is a better cycle time. So with virtual site survey, from project assigned, that's maybe an internal term that we, when it comes into operations and we see, yep, this is a project good to go, that's what we call project assigned, to site survey complete. That is, you get to that point in 0 days with VSS. So if you didn't already love VSS, or somebody hasn't already extolled the virtues of VSS, let me say it now, VSS is awesome. If it qualifies, it'll go through really quickly. If it's an on-demand site survey, because we have several people, we can see their availability, we see their calendars, we are able to schedule it. Because we have that control, we do see us being able to get to that site survey and get it complete within about 3 days. And our install partners, that's closer to 7 days. Now, again, some install partners we have, our install partners are wonderful, and some of them are faster than others. But it is that kind of unknown of throwing it over the fence and saying, could you reach out to the customer and you get it scheduled? Whereas anytime we can bring it in-house into operations and we own that process, we tend to see just better results and results that we can control. From there, kind of back to Rick's question of, well, does it stay within the pipeline? When we do the site survey through VSS or on demand, we do the design as well. And we're typically seeing a turnaround of close to 7 days. We fully expect to get that much better, to have that cut in half. But that's part of the process of building out that muscle in that department. And on average, we're seeing our build partners do it in about 13 days. So not the most important part of the process, but definitely some advantages. Okay, so I alluded to a couple advantages that we've seen. So first of all, we get a consistent deliverable. And when I've been with Powur for a little over a year, and at least when I first came on those site surveys, in some cases we were getting a handful of photos from build partners. In some cases we were getting a really great site survey, but it was an inconsistent result. So with our on-demand site surveyors, we are able to dictate a 50 to 75 question template based on kind of what their answers are, that say, we need all of this information answered for this to be a complete site survey. We need it the same way, we need the same measurements every single time. So a consistent, repeatable process. Right now, we're using site capture to dictate that template. Very, very soon, we will see our own site survey app provided by Powur. It's called Powur Site, and we're already in the testing phases of it. And that just gives us one more tool in our arsenal that if we realize like, well, hey, we should actually be, in Arizona, they want to see the distance to the gas meter every single time. So we should add a question for our Arizona site surveyors that says, measure the distance from the main service panel to the gas meter every time. We can make that change, put it in the template, push it out live immediately, and we'll start getting that information. So it allows us to iterate and improve the process a lot more effectively. Does that make sense? Okay. And then, as I said, it gives us better visibility into scheduling and what's going on. We know which site surveyor is going to which customer on what day. And so we've already built out work queues that allow us to manage and schedule those internally. And then the last part is we do expect to get a consistent customer experience and a high quality customer experience. So we love NPS, Net Promoter Score. We check it at every part of the process, and site survey is no different. And these are just a few comments that we've gotten from just this last week from our on-demand site surveyors. We get far and away a very high Net Promoter Score, at least so far from our on-demand site surveyors. All right, so let's take the last 7 minutes, get into common concerns, which I know are top of mind for everybody. This is great. The idea of virtual site survey, never been done before, crowdsourcing through the platform, an on-demand process. However, I want to make sure my customers are really well taken care of. I know my installer, I know they do a great job. There's some uncertainty here. So hopefully we can clear up some of that uncertainty. So first of all, how are we going to catch re-roofs? I'll be the first to say that our on-demand site surveyors, they do not have the same experience as our installers. They don't have the same roofing experience. So how are we going to catch that roof that can be a really painful problem if it's missed and we get to the day of install and we've got a whole crew on site and they have to pull off because we missed something, the roof was bad. So first of all, I'll say that I have this part of the process I've repeated in a past life, in a past solar company. So I have seen it work. And it's basically through really, really good documentation and a decision matrix that evolves. And that decision matrix is based off of the age of the roof, type of the roof, documenting the roof material, documenting the attic, which again is one of those things that we don't see as consistently with our build partners. But sometimes the top of the roof looks great, but you get into the attic and that's where you find your problems. And so again, we are requiring the same information every single time from our on-demand site surveyors. And through that documentation, it then goes to our engineers and our designers that they have seen, hundreds and thousands of projects and roofs and photos, and, they have made those calls for years. So it's not like this is going to a offshore third party. No, we're making that call in-house with our engineers that are frankly skilled in the arts. Now, that being said, that's not quite the same as physically being on the roof as an installer. And so based on that matrix, based off of, well, it's a tile roof, it's so many years old, even though the pictures look good, we should still send out for what we call a roof check. And the great part about this, even though it sounds like, 2 visits instead of 1, we can do this in parallel. And in most cases, the homeowner does not need to be home. And this is kind of our release valve that says, well, we know with these VSS projects, these newer roofs, we can be very confident of the roof quality. We know on these on-demand site surveys that looking at these photos and looking at all of the documentation, we're confident on this, but there's always going to be some percentage that we're not confident on. And those are the ones that we can then pull the trigger and say, let's use our build partner. Let's get them out to the site. Let's get them out to the site. The homeowner doesn't have to be home. And all they're doing is checking the roof and saying, yep, this is good to install on. And so with that kind of combination of all of those things, we fully expect to, with a very, very high percentage, make sure that the roof is in good condition. All right, questions on that? I feel like I've been talking quite a bit.
Someone was wondering if they can see the matrix or at least know the age of the roof for the years that might trigger that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best thing to do is going to be follow up this meeting. Again, I apologize, I'm constrained on time, but follow it up with documentation directly from our design team. So Chris Bunch, if you haven't met him, if you haven't crossed paths, he has a ton of experience in solar and in the design and engineering portion of it. So we've been working through that matrix, but I'm happy to provide the decision matrix that says, if this, then that, if this, then that, and kind of what the playbook that his team is working off of. Because it varies based on the roof type, based off the age, based off of, a handful of pretty important facts.
Great. Yeah, maybe I can get something and just give it to the team through our Telegram and Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had another minute or 2 left. I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay. Cool. The one thing that I did want to touch on, and this is going to be a bit different. So what do we do if the homeowner asks questions of our on-demand site surveyor? Now, if you're with Burke from Burke Electric and they ask, hey, do you think I need a new main service panel? He's an electrician. He's right there. He's going to be able to answer that. Now, that is not something that is scalable. We can't scale having the owner of a company and an electrician on every site. So what we are, but that doesn't mean that we can't give the homeowner the same question with the same answered with the same level of confidence. The only difference is we really hammer home that, as a site surveyor, you are there to document everything that needs to be documented so that our designers and engineers, who are the experts, can then make the right call. And then similarly, if there's a question related to sales, related to finance, let me make sure that you get that question answered. I'm going to refer you to your sales consultant. And so the reason this is important, that the tech, frankly, is just there like, hey, I'm here to document, I'm here to get all the information we need. And then we're going to have the experts look at it. I've found that keeps us from putting our foot in our mouth, where I've even seen really well-intentioned install partners that are like, yeah, I think you probably need a new roof. And maybe that's a concern you've already resolved with them. And now they've kind of opened up a can of worms. So similarly, so I guess let me just say that, like, if you expect that the site surveyor is going to be the one on the day of the site survey saying yes or no, you need a new roof, we should probably do a better job of setting those expectations, because up until this point, that's been acceptable. That's been, an easy thing to set up with the customer because you were going to have the build partner there. But going forward with on-demand, we are going to push that decision out slightly until it gets to the design and engineering team, at which point they're going to make that call. Does that make sense?
I totally agree. I think the sales rep should let the homeowner know that the survey tech is just there to take photos, measure. They're not the engineer. They're not the electrical engineers. They're not load structural calc people. They just take photos and measurements. That's it. I'll get back with you in a week or 2 with the results from our engineer team.
Yeah. Days. Back to you in days. If it's a week or two, we're doing it wrong. So
I always say a week or two. When it's earlier, we've exceeded their expectations.
good point. Yeah, under promise, over deliver. So, all right. Well, I have to hop off. I hope this was helpful and informative. As I mentioned, I will be providing much more documentation to Jonathan so he can get that your way. And then if you do have questions, please email them my way. I'll throw that in here. Because yeah, this, as I said at the very top of this discussion, our job is to build a best-in-class process that's going to deliver a high-quality product for our designers and engineers, but also instill confidence for you, the sales rep, and for our install partners. Like, I want to make sure this program is working so well that you're confident about, yep, I'm so excited to have the on-demand site surveyor show up, because they're going to knock this thing out fast. The design team's going to put together a great permit pack. We're going to get that submitted faster than I've seen it done before. And then by the time the installers show up to do what they do best, they're going to have everything they need. It's going to be a smooth install because we've done all the legwork beforehand for them. So that's the goal. That's the vision.
Awesome. Thank you, Travis. I know you have to hop.
Thank you, Travis.
All right.
Have a good one, guys.
Appreciate it. I want to say one or two things on what we just spoke about. Maybe Tom or Rick can chime in, and then we will cover some important updates and a success story or two. But just a little takeaway from the Powur Services guys. It is a little bit of a growth period, right? Like Travis said, we were doing in-house designs. We got so busy, we had to give some back to the installers. So it's definitely a learning curve right now. I think one of the main takeaways for me is, like he said, we're going to have Powur site, our own site capture. We're crowdsourcing these site surveys, something that no one's ever done. So as we go public, as we look towards an IPO in a year or two, the more things that we have that are differentiators that set us apart, our own in-house tool, our own Powur site, all these different levels, it's only going to lead to a more successful IPO when we go public, and all of our stocks and discount options are going to be worth more. And then also on the on-demand site survey, for those of you that need some activities or need something to do, sign up for it, and maybe you get to do some on-demand site surveys. If you all want to follow one of the reps here, Michael Pham, Pham, every site survey he does on demand, almost every day, every other day, he takes a social media story of himself. This homeowner, this HOA president, this townhome, this home in Covina, this home in Rancho is going solar. They're buying a Tesla. They got a pool. They got a vaulted ceiling. The 26% tax credit. This is the last year. Summer's coming. I mean, he's amazing. So look at it as an opportunity to go to a house, drive some traffic, drive some sales, drive some interest, post on social media. For those of you that have registered for the on-demand site survey, and we'll make sure the link is posted in the chat again. Tom or Rick, anything else on the on-demand and Powur Services?
I think you covered it pretty well. It's just, it's exciting, the fact that we're always innovating, right? It's one of the reasons that Ethan chose to come here, was the fact that we're free, we're nimble, we're fast, we grow, we think outside the box. These are things you don't see at traditional solar companies. So this is just another aspect of that. And it's exciting. And to your point, it's not perfect now, but it's getting there, and we're scaling rapidly. And we need these little advantages as we continue to scale and differentiate ourselves. So this is huge. So hope everybody got all the information they needed from it. And this is it's super exciting. So Tom, do you have anything to add to that? I mean,
no, I would say, especially on social media and conversations that you're having, you can use this to start conversations, to recruit people, because there's different entry points into solar, and you could use this to, build a list, that you're sending content out to over email or text on a regular basis. So think about it kind of holistically for your business, that, first of all, promoting this on social media and LinkedIn is great. You know, going to Powur Careers, whether it's on our Powur site or our LinkedIn page. Jonathan's probably posting that now. And talking about, you know, positions that we're hiring for, you know, all that's kind of good communication to be sending out to start conversations with people.
Absolutely. And just on cycle times, some of you might have seen an article where the number 3 installer, Freedom Forever, I saw a few jobs over there take 6 to 7 months. And if you know anyone at Sunrun Corporate, they say it is 4 to 6 months. And that's not an excuse for cycle times, but guys, it's rough anywhere in the industry with tariffs, equipment, labor, everything that we're seeing. So the grass is not always greener elsewhere. So let's go ahead and get into a few last updates here, and then we'll do some Q&A as well. And there's the on-demand site survey website, so you could sign up. All right, so just a big reminder, I'll put it in the chat here from our masterclass immersive. There are awesome marketing materials. You know, I say if you're not posting at least weekly, every few days on social media, you shouldn't even be here. Don't be a secret agent. Just post about it. I've helped many people overcome their anxiety of posting about solar. If I look at some of your guys' LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebooks, I might not even see solar. So Powur went ahead and shared an amazing Google Drive of tons and tons of easy posts for stories and social media, which I love that stuff. So there's some resources for you guys. And some future events. Today at 12 p.m., always on Tuesdays, Solar Sales Tuesdays, powurcalendar.com. Every week we have training from REC, Sunlight, Solar Edge, Sonova. Make sure to read your Monday newsletter you should have got yesterday from Powur for all of this information and more. And if you're newer here, jump on our Thursday new consultant trainings at 12 and 5 Pacific every Thursday. But really important, June 4th, guys, is an all-out Powur Super Solar Saturday training. It's called Powur Day, a one-day training event. Tom's having one in Fresno. I'm having one with JC and all the leaders in Downey, Los Angeles. We're going to have a San Diego one. There's going to be ones across the country. So get with your local leaders. Check powurcalendar.com. They were just put up yesterday for this event. And this is to help us build into Powur World, July 15th and 16th, our in-person event in Dallas, Texas. There's going to be probably 1,500 Powur consultants and guests there. There's going to be a dinner gala. So again, check the newsletter, go to powur.com world. I hope to see you there. The training is going to be invaluable. I don't think you can afford not to be there. It's going to be really impactful for your business. And I know there's multiple teams and consultants here, and probably we're going to open it up. But if you're involved with the Powur Hitters, you're part of this community, technically just a success story. My organization, everyone under me, all the amazing leaders, so many of you out there, we technically just hit 1,000 consultants under the team for Powur Hitters, paying $49 a month. Some are referral only, some are mentors, but it's a huge milestone. So JC Rangel, myself, and Charles intend to rent out a brewery in Anaheim, get a food truck, taco truck, do a quick business presentation, and just party from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. here in Southern California. So more to come on that. Hopefully towards the end of June, we will do that. And then just as a reminder, here's the June 4th event for Downey, Los Angeles. And Tom, you're doing one in Fresno, right? Is Rachel McDonald going to yours?
I haven't talked her into that yet, but last time she came down to Stockton. So yeah, all these, Powur Days are on June 4th, so we're going to be in Fresno same day, 10 a.m. at the DoubleTree Hilton in downtown Fresno. So wherever you're at in the country, find the one that's closest to you and drive people to it, and make sure if you can that you get over to it as well.
Absolutely. All right, just an update. This is primarily more towards you California folks. If you notice, if you leave a ticket, it will say customer care. So in California, like I mentioned, we just hired 3 new project managers, and we hired a project manager assistant, who I believe the name is Raven. Now, there was a post by Jonathan Budd in Powur Pioneers, but just to define a little bit of what happened, why, they already test piloted this in Texas. When you leave a ticket, it goes to customer care. It allows for a fast, rapid response by an assistant or an admin that can answer the response. If it requires a more complicated response, it'll simply be routed directly to the project manager. Now, normally project managers answer their tickets within 24 to 48 business hours. And if you ever have an issue on a job and you're bugging your leadership, leave a ticket. And if it's not responded to, send a screenshot of where they ignored your ticket for 24 to 48 business hours, because it usually never happens. The project managers are rated on their response time. So this is new. It'll say customer care. It's going to hopefully allow for a faster response time. And like I said, if it's too difficult, it'll be routed to the PM or OM for support. But always create tickets. That's the first thing you should do if you ever have questions on a job. All right. Well, that's really most of what I have. I think we could do a little hybrid customer, let me see, questions, Q&A, and possibly a success story or two. I want to go ahead and start. So I'm in the office with Sean. What's up, Sean?
How's it going, team?
Sean is a local mentor here, and Zach. And so the two of them partnered up and they opened an office, right?
Yeah. So I guess I'll take your computer. So what we did is we opened an office out here in Tustin, at North Tustin. And it's mainly just for a team building thing. It's really an open letter to everyone that's here. If you're in the area, Orange County, close by to this, it's just another kind of point of contact for anyone to come, use it as training, use it as a place to do meetings. Obviously, you can see we've got this cool power wall. If you want to do a consultation with them in the background, we're more than happy to have people come through, work together. I think it's gonna be a great thing. We also have a green screen room that we'll walk you to as well for content for all of us. Obviously, it'll be rented out and case by case basis based on how busy we get. But you can see right now we're getting it all set up. But it's a really cool studio to put up content for us and have unique content for all of us to utilize. And something kind of we're just trying to work on now that we haven't seen much of Powur is different ethnicities, content in different languages. And so I know we have a lot of different ethnicities, different languages to utilize. So we can use this to build some of that content for Powur as well, which is a great idea.
Sweet. Zach and Sean kicking ass here, guys. It's just a reminder. What's the rent here? 1,200?
Yeah, $1,200.
$1,200. They painted a wall. They put brand new floors in, and they split the price. You can get 2 or 3 of you together and do something like this. It helps their business. They're going to do some training here. They're going to do some business presentations and recruiting here. So hats off to you guys.
Yeah, and like we said, everyone's welcome to utilize this as a team thing. Obviously, we all know how Powur Hitters works. We all work as a community, so everyone is welcome.
And we also have an office in Downey with JC's team. And then Cynthia and I are sharing an office in Ranch Cucamonga. So we are building out, hopefully, a network of offices. And there's always a co-working space, a couple chairs and desks if you want to set up a laptop and work together. All right. Any other questions and success stories? We got 10, 15 minutes to go. Go ahead and drop your info in the chat, Sean and Zach. It's too quiet out there. Michaela Bourne says, talk Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, another success story. We just installed solar in Palm Springs on Marilyn Monroe's house. It's an Airbnb. It's $1,200 a night, 3-night minimum stay if you want to stay at Marilyn Monroe's house. And Marilyn Monroe's house now has solar. It's owned by a company. There's 3 partners, but that's a great success story. And maybe we can drop the video in the chat. But we're going to hire an impersonator and go film a professional video with Marilyn at her Airbnb house pretty soon. So look forward to that.
I wanted to ask, could you hear me?
Yes, Ricky, go for it.
Yeah. Could you direct us, guide us to where we can find, on the website for Powur, how to post, like how to find those posts so we can put it on our own social media, for future reference to, like you're saying, be more present with our own, since we're in Powur, got to be more present. Because I know I'm not too, I've posted here and there, but not as much as I should be. But yeah, I would like to do some more posts
Yeah,
using,
absolutely.
the resources that Powur gives us.
Thank you, Ricky. Yeah. So I just posted the Google Drive in the chat. If you click it, make sure to bookmark that site and save that site. There's tons of content there. And then I believe someone else could put in knowledge base. If you just type marketing or click marketing or search marketing, Ricky, in knowledge base, you should find some other marketing as well. And don't forget to add Powur on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. They're already sharing content. And all of our teammates and leaders here want you to share and steal and post and copy all of our stuff. So don't reinvent the wheel, Ricky. Just share and steal and copy away. Thank you. Tony, what's going on, sir?
What's going on? Just wanted to give a little testimonial for on-demand site surveys. So, on the call, it took about 35 minutes in Livermore. I've probably done like 8 in the last 10 days. So they're definitely starting to schedule a lot more in the Bay Area. And I think it's just an awesome way to just do solar during the day when you might not have any presentations, Most of my minutes for presentations are at 5 and after that. So just want to give a little testimonial on that.
Absolutely, Tony. Thanks for doing that and good advice there. Ron.
Hey,
Oh,
JB,
Rick.
I wanted to add real quick, for people that are in California, circle June 2nd on your calendars. There's going to be some NEM 3.0 rallies. We're trying to get 5,000 people down in LA, and there's going to be some celebrity speakers along with about 500 up in San Francisco. Details are forthcoming, but I talked to Carter at CALSA yesterday, and he wanted us to kind of drop the hint, just kind of circle those calendars and try and recruit, fellow warriors, other solar folks, or customers. We really kind of want to drive attendance to these events. We're really getting close to the wire here with NEM 3.0. It's looking good, but we've got to really kind of step on the gas these last few weeks before the decisions come down. So just be aware of that. We'll give you guys guidance as we get it. But June 2nd, if you're in the LA or San Francisco area, we'd love to have you.
Awesome,
Hey,
Rick.
Rick.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Hey, Rick, this is Seth. Any other specifics regarding them 3 right now? I mean, if they're starting to do these rallies, it sounds like something's coming pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, the guidance is that we're going to get a decision within the next 2 months. CALSA is, hopefully optimistic, but we'll see. We'll see. I think that the decision in Florida had an impact, right? I mean, it can't not. But everything's behind closed doors. We really don't know. We can have our hunches. We feel good. We feel strong, but we can't let up. Not now. It's too important. So anyone that that's in the LA area that's a fan of solar or a solar customer, we really have to do the work, do this groundwork to get the word out and draw attendance.
I would just add that in July, they may vote on a decision, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, it's 3 to 4 months before that can be enacted.
120 days from 120 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, net metering 3.0 could happen by December, by the end of the year here. And the tax credit does seem to be going down. Summer's coming. There is no better time from now to the end of the year to push as hard as you can.
Those are all great selling points and, driving action for your customer too. The PV Magazine article talks about NEM 3. I just put in the chat. I've been sending that to a couple customers just to drive action.
Awesome. Ron, so you have your hand up?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Hello, everybody. Just a quick shout out to Rick and Chris Ebersberg. Rick did something for me yesterday for a former solar consultant that I worked with, and we did an apples to apple comparison to a job that he's, couldn't sell from the other large company. And it came out literally the commission wise was would have been 1,100 for the guy. And with Powur, it would have been, correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but it was about 10,000 for him. So it was incredible. And I can say today I received the texts and phone calls. He and 3 to 4 other consultants are coming over. We're super excited. In fact, he said, I feel like I can walk through a brick wall. So that was pretty cool. So thanks, guys. Hope to see this guy on the leaderboard soon.
Yeah, he was doing 10 to 12 self-generates a month at his old company and grinding for literally probably 1/10 of the commission per deal per job. So once we kind of walked him through the numbers systematically and the light bulb went off and his head exploded, it was pretty easy from there, right, Ron?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again, Rick.
You got it.
That's a great recruiting tip. My brother does that as well. Any solar professional or sales professional, hey, I'd like to jump on a Zoom with you. Send me an address. I want to show you a proposal. And you just show them apples to apples, show them and blow their mind how easy our tool is and how much more they can make here. James, your hand is up, sir. Go for it.
Yes, hi, Warriors.
Good morning.
I'd like to share, I guess in Virginia afternoon, but that's okay. JB, I'd like to share a story from last night. Rob B and myself had a nice discovery call with a gentleman in Virginia. And it's amazing like how the professionalism shows through and they trust you after a while, because his situation at first didn't look like he needed much, but Rob was able to show him, he was able to get panels on another side of his house that would add to the value of getting solar. And he really started to really trust us. And I'm sure at the end of the week it's going to be signed. But the other good news was, because of that trust, that he has a rental property. So right after we went through the savings report, he said, I have another property that I'd like both of you to look at on Friday. So, that, like I say, that professionalism, and they can sense it when you're not trying to sell them something they don't need, but something that actually is going to help them.
Love it, James. Great advice. Discovery calls, professionalism. That's what we're all about here. Ethics and integrity.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think someone else had their hand up, but they put it down. But any other questions or success stories? Feel free.
I just had a question. In California, in the net energy metering 3, is there any sort of grandfather program? I know other states, when they do change, they tend to like grandfather people who were solar before the change. Is there anything like that in California, or would that apply to everybody?
So that's part of the negotiation. That's one of the deal points.
Okay. I just want.
My answer, Jared, is traditionally there's a 20-year grandfather clause. So the net 1, the net 2 is supposed to be a 20-year grandfather clause. Part of the NEM 3 was including a retroactive 15-year clause, which I don't think will pass, fingers crossed. So as of now, I'm advising that it's a 20-year grandfather, but that could be subject to change depending on what 3.0 ruling is.
Hey guys, this is Seth Pearson again. And also along all those lines is that the interconnection application date is the grandfather date. So it doesn't have to be full PTO, at least the way the language is written in the first NEM 3 submission. So if nothing changes, that's a positive at least. So you don't have to be PTO. It's based on when your interconnection application is.
Yeah, completed interconnection. Yeah, so as long as there's not any changes. And just a little B&I plug here, Jonathan. So last week in my 60-second commercial, I asked for referrals for people who were probably going to be selling their house in the near future and still wanted to look into solar in California because of the NEM 3 change. So the way that it's been written is that if they get interconnected, then even the next person that would be buying that house would be grandfathered in. So that could become a big asset, you know, for people who are, you know, selling houses with solar, is that they're grandfathered into them too.
And they get to take the tax credit.
Double dip. On the
Lots of urgency right here now, you guys. I mean, there's, you know, as a solar pro, we always need urgency to sometimes get the sale. And there's never been, that I can remember, or Tom can remember in our 14, 15 years of doing this, there's never been a time where urgency has been on our side. We don't have to manufacture it. It's there. It's there everywhere around us.
Absolutely. All right, guys, just kind of in closing here, next Tuesday, next week is the Impact Journey Mexico Builds, the top 25 sellers, the executives, Jonathan, Bud, Charles, Bobby, Cami, Rick Joseph here, my brother. We're all going to be in Mexico building a home, donating the solar. So expect to see some great videos and footage on something that Powur is doing. Tom, will you be doing a Tuesday training next week?
I am. I'm staying home with the kids.
Okay, perfect.
You guys got Tom all to yourselves next week.
We'll look forward to a great training with Tom.
I'll post it in Powur Hitters.
Appreciate that. And then just to put it out there, after next week's training, we're going to kind of do a restart, a refresh of these Tuesday trainings. We're going to start from the basics, especially if you're new here, you know, making your warm list, calling your list, posting on social. And then we're going to do discovery call scripts, you know, with JC Rangel and team. And then we're going to do some door knocking and proposal 101, how to just do some proposal presenting. And then how to pick a solar panel or inverter, maybe with Cynthia Alvidrez, or we'll get some of Tom and Rick's leaders and mentors on here as well. So just want to put it out there that that's the vision. Tom and I and Rick and team and all are collaborating on these trainings. I know we flip flop a little bit, so thanks for the patience there, but that's kind of the vision I see, to give everyone a refresher and great information. And then of course, June 4th and Dallas in July, guys. I'm super looking forward to seeing you all at these events. Any last words, Tom, Rick?
No, just again about Powur World. So make sure that you're there. It's really going to make a huge difference in your business if you make the trip over there. I'm actually moving from California to Missouri, and I planned our move around Powur World. It's that big of a deal for me and my business and my team. So make sure that you're there.
Sounds great.